Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about here was the idea of the virtues. And the virtues are character traits. And of these four ways of thinking, it's the virtues that we have the most difficulty talking about. People in traditional societies have a much easier time talking about the virtues because there's a greater emphasis on that. In the United States right now, 21st century, I would say this has been the case for most of maybe the last 100 years in the United States. Our preferred way of thinking is consequences. We're very practical-minded people. We want to know what the result will be. And so most of our political debates, they start out, first of all, talking about consequences. Then they might bring in some other things too. But that's what we move to first. And we know that language really well. We're really good at it. We're pretty good at fairness, because fairness is mostly about process. What are the rules we agree to for doing something? Okay? When we're talking about whether it's fairness or equality, respect, these sorts of things, that's fairness. Okay? But character we have a harder time with. And that makes it problematic if we're trying to live a life that's informed by Scripture, because it's primarily Scripture thinking that you find both the Old and the New Testaments. Okay? When Jesus is telling parables, he's not simply trying to point out this is the way to act in this kind of situation. He's trying to help us develop a different way of thinking about a situation. So our perception of the problem changes, not just of the answer to the problem, but the perception of the problem. And this is what character traits do. Okay? Now, furthermore, it's primarily character traits that we pass down to our children. So this is why it's so important. If we want to be good husbands and fathers and grandparents, we have to pay more attention to character traits than anything else. The other stuff they're going to pick up, and you can pick up by just talking. But character traits you pick up by interaction, by behaviors. Because it works in this way. You do something, you act in a certain way. Over a time, it's repeated. It becomes a habit. That habit then becomes second nature. It becomes part of who you are. Okay? And then it affects your very perception of the way things are. Okay? So, in influencing our children's character, we are really influencing who they are, what kind of person they, and then in some ways what kind of world they inhabit.